Welcome to GCH Podcast. I'm your host, Ben W. Stock, and with me is a very special guest. I've got Metropolitan Monopoly. Let me rephrase that. I've got Metropolitan Monopoly Brad Bernia on the pod. How you doing today, bud?
I'm doing good, Ben. Thank you for having me. I need to real quick make two corrections on that. It's actually Brad Bernia, and I've only been subbing on the Monopoly so far. Okay. We actually have the Glocktopus team that will be starting up in January.
Gotcha. Okay. See,
throwing a curveball right out the gate.
When I looked up the stats for you, all I had for this season was the Monopoly, and you're right. The Glocktopus haven't even had a chance to play a tournament yet. So that is on me, but I'm glad that we were able to get that squared away.
Oh, you're all good. You're all good. I've already had several people asking me if I'm playing with the Monopoly full time. It's like, no, we backloaded our tournaments this year.
Which, in essence, how do you feel about doing something like that? Because last year you guys were more front heavy, weren't you?
Yeah, and honestly, that had a lot more to do with the priority for what you're allowed to pick. Because it's weighted if you've been in the league for a while. Yeah. I love having them more towards the end because I've done it where you start early and everyone gets all excited and then you just have months off. And then, you come around to the finals and everyone's like, oh yeah, I guess we have this team that we put together. Everyone's been playing on different teams. Some of the guys are, not clicking like they were, back in, the fall. So it was strategic this time around and I'm glad it worked out. So we'll see how it pays off.
Good. So now what tournaments are you in the Glocktopus participating in?
We're going to be at, I believe it's right down the line with January, February, March, and April with 2 Taylor. And then I believe we're doing one out in Pittsburgh and then Fort Wayne.
Okay.
Yeah.
Which all very tough tournaments to play in, especially toward the end of that latter part of the season, because that's when you got teams that are just finally starting to click. I've noticed that some teams are doing like what I would call like a toss away tournament at the beginning of the year, and then they'll take 2 or 3 months off to kind of get some practice in, retool, and then come at it hard toward the end of the season.
Yeah, I mean, it's bold strategy. I guess we'll see how it pays off.
Right. I know, right, Cotton?
Glad you got that.
Yeah. So tell us a little bit about yourself, Brad. How did you get involved in hockey, and what did you play other sports growing up? And then if you did, what brought you more so towards hockey than anything? Or were you just strictly, you know what, I'm going to stick with hockey and that's my first love?
Yeah. So I did play a couple other sports here and there, but honestly, like straight from the get-go, I think when I was 6-7 years old, I was watching Datsuk on the Red Wings, and I just remember my dad telling me, like, watch this guy. It's like the puck's glued to his stick. Like, nobody can take it from him. And I watched him. I was just enamored with it. I couldn't get enough, so I was obsessed with hockey. Unfortunately, we didn't quite have the funds to play ice hockey, but my parents found out about this thing called inline hockey. And they're like, would you like to do that? I was like, yeah, sounds pretty cool. So I started playing that way. And I started when I was 7. And I want to say around the time I was like 16, 17, I actually transitioned into goalie for the league I was playing in. They needed goalies, and I was like, I'll give it a shot. So I played goalie for a while, and then after a number of years, I ended up transitioning back into player, and just kind of stuck with that since.
Cool. So now, you said you played a couple other sports. What sports were those? Like, I'm assuming baseball would probably be one of them.
Yeah, baseball was one. I remember just that being the most boring thing. Not to hate too much on baseball, but I don't think I had the attention span for it. Was really what it was. Not that it's a bad sport, but it just wasn't for me. I tried basketball. I was just terrible at basketball. I was decent at soccer. I had fun with that one, but again, none of it had the same excitement for me as playing hockey did. And I literally would spend my summers out in my driveway, just like stick handling and shooting on the net, chasing the pucks down from wherever they ended up going because my shot sucked. And honestly a lot of fun. Like it was always been my passion.
Yeah. So now, how did you get involved in MIHA? What was your first year playing? According to my stats, it says it was 2020. I'm assuming it was probably a couple years prior to that.
Yeah. I don't remember my debut. So a little bit more backstory on me. The rink I played out of predominantly, the JCC rink in West Bloomfield. Mm-hmm. I actually was playing at it so much as a sub goalie that the people there were like, "Hey, do you want to work here?" So I started working, and I was doing like front desk scorekeeper. Eventually, I actually ended up becoming assistant manager, director at the facility. So I was there all the time. I was helping when they were running like the tournaments and stuff. So that's kind of how I got my exposure to just various tournaments, including MIHA. And that's where I met, Staple, who originally ran it, as well as Carl. I remember I played a season or two. I remember the first time I actually subbed with Carl's team on the nights, and it was just so much fun. Like the intensity was crazy compared to like the rec leagues that I was used to playing in, because I hadn't really experienced tournament hockey. So I just remember like that was really cool and exciting. I think someone broke my stick, but I was still just really amped up about it. So that was my first taste. But yeah, that was, God, I don't even remember. That was a few years back. Someone else would have to do some digging to find out that one.
Some digging. Yeah, because like I said, the stats on the website only go back so far. I think 2015, but like I said, it says here that you have 62 games played so far. That doesn't even include the couple of games that you played so far with the Metropolitan Monopoly for this season, and then that won't even include the 20 or so games you're going to get with the Glocktopus as well.
Yeah, that sounds about right. I'm always trying to play as much as I can. So anytime the Monopoly, there's a great bunch of guys and girl, and they hit me up, and I was like, oh yeah, of course I want to come play with you guys. Honestly, we had some fun. We're not the most competitive team, but it was really hard. Everyone played really well, and it's just a fun group to play with. And at least for me, that's key, is having fun with it.
Well, I'll tell you, I enjoy watching you guys play. Like, I don't care what anybody else says. You guys are actually a lot more competitive than you probably give yourselves credit for. I'll say that. No, I'm being 100% honest from a former player's aspect, looking at you guys play. You guys move the puck well. You guys skate hard, and you guys just battle it out day in and day out, which is what you want to see from a fan perspective. And so I absolutely love watching you guys play, not only with the Monopoly, but as with the Glocktopus as well.
Yeah, no, it's for me. With the Monopoly, that the competitiveness honestly comes from just like a bunch of, honestly, they're all intelligent players. Like we may not have the best shots out there or the best moves or anything like that, but everybody's going to work their bag off, and everyone's going to make generally pretty smart plays, and that honestly cuts down on so much stuff. It's amazing. Yeah. So it's very enjoyable. And then Francis, of course, on that team, he's just a great guy to have on there. He kind of settles everybody down, gives everyone a little coaching tips, and anytime he speaks, you're definitely listening.
Yeah, he was one of the guys that you always, when he's around, you listen to what he has to say. Sometimes you kind of wish you get a little more offensive production from him from time to time. But
listen, he was definitely thinking that about himself as well in the last tournament.
Oh, for sure. Yeah.
And the rest of the team was letting him know too. I'll have to clip that and send it to him whenever this comes out.
Oh no, I'm sure I'll let him know too. Yeah. So.
But yeah, he's normally even though he didn't, score, he actually, I don't think he scored a single goal that tournament, which was hilarious. But he probably hit like 10 posts,
Yeah.
and like 3 of them just like the connector out. And sometimes it goes your way, sometimes it doesn't. That's just how it goes.
Yeah, and I'll tell you this: if I was in his shoes, I'm glad it's happening here and not when I'm playing in Italy.
Yeah, exactly. Get work all of that out of his system now,
Yeah,
and then, he can
and
settle
then
in.
come Masters time, he's representing Team USA. He's burying the puck in the net. So
oh yeah, and he is coming off of a couple different injuries, I think. So he's really just been kind of getting back into it. So, and you know how it is. Like, if you ever had an injury and you try to come back and play, like it takes like just little things feel off until you get back into the swing of it, and it's annoying, but it just happens.
Yeah, it's one of those things. Like, I don't know if you know a little bit about my backstory, where I played with Francis all the way back in 2008, 2007. I think it's 2008, 2009, 2010. With the Michigan Thunder and the Great Lakes Assassins, and I was there when when the infamous hit happened with him and Todd Orlando. I wasn't on the floor that game, but it wasn't. I think it was that next weekend where I was up on the got called up for that, and then kind of stuck around ever since. And man, I'll tell you what, when he battles through and everything like that, it's incredible to see. But yeah, back to what I was going to say is that once I got into the championships with when Francis finally came back, he and Todd collided. My feet come flying out from underneath me. I land and I smash my S1, my L4, L3, L5, L4, L3, and I didn't do anything. Like, I was just like, I'll tough it out. I finally had back surgery in 2015, and then I had to walk away from the sport at 2015. So I didn't put on skates until literally this past weekend.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh so God, how did that feel?
It felt like crap. My skates are like super tight. Like the left side, I'm going, man, I didn't realize my foot grew. I'm like, man, I got to get some new skates or something.
Yeah.
So
they probably weigh a ton too.
A little bit, yeah. So I'm gonna ship them out to Sharp Shack out in Massachusetts with the Mass roller hockey guy, Stephen Duffy. He's gonna see if he can't work his magic and see if he can't get that left skate to pop open a little bit. If not, I do have a backup set that I'm also sending him to get re-riveted. It was just one of those things where I looked at my fiance and I was like, hey, we should go skating. I have my son Luke. He's 3 years old. He's got some skates too, and I'm like, you know what? Let's take him for his first time skating. And the kid absolutely loved it.
God.
I only made it like an hour and a half before I got like the massive blister on the side of my heel. And I'm like, I gotta cut this out, otherwise I'm not gonna be able to walk for the next 3 days.
You'd be regretting it.
So yeah. But yeah, so I mean, it's one of those things where it's just like, it's you kind of have to walk away in order and let your body heal, because it was so bad that I couldn't even walk like more than 50 feet without everything just tightening up really bad. But
that's insane. Did you like only recently like kind of make a full recovery, or have you just like taken some time off since?
No, so I made basically like a full recovery within that year. But I had to, like, I was dating my ex-wife at the time, and it was just one of those times where it's just like, I'm either, if I'm gonna have kids, I had to stop with like playing softball. I had to stop playing hockey. Otherwise, I probably would have injured myself again or crippled myself to the point where I couldn't pick up my kids to play.
We love the sport. At the end of the day, it is for fun.
Right. And so I was talking to my new fiance, and I go, I'd like to play one more game, just one more game, one more tournament series, and then just hang it up for good, just like let my kids see me play. Luke's at that
Yeah,
age where it'd be like, oh, it'd be kind of cool to see dad play, and so that's the plan is sometime next year. Hopefully
there
I
you
can
go.
sub on a team, have a little bit of fun, and not hurt myself.
Yeah, there you go.
So,
Just you just sandbag it on like a T5 team or something like that. Be like,
I thought about that, but I'm like, no, I really got to go. I don't think I can do T2, but I'm like, I could probably play T3 because I could probably get Russ Christopher with the Windy City Syndicate to give me a chance to play with him for a little bit.
oh, there you
Um,
go. That
or
T3 division can be like pretty intense, honestly. And I've said this for like a couple years now. Is there are some like T3 teams that could easily be playing T2.
oh,
That's a
absolutely,
very tough division. Like I
yeah.
watched some of those matchups. I'm like, damn.
Yeah, but ultimately, I'll probably end up playing in T4. If I'm going to be realistically honest with myself, that's probably the division I should be in.
Yeah.
But who knows what's
Play
going to happen?
T4 and then
Yeah,
you'll be like, oh, you know what? That felt pretty good. I can play T3.
exactly. So I'm like, but who knows? I might get Jaron a call with the Great Lakes Growlers and see if he's got room for a tournament. I
There
know
you
he's
go.
always looking for a sub or two, but you just never know. I mean, but then again, Grove City could need somebody too, and I could slip on
Yeah.
with those guys too.
I feel like
But
you know a guy or two on
I
there.
I might know one. I think I
Yeah.
know one guy. I don't know, but yeah.
Uh,
So now tell me about you. So let's get back to you, because this is your show. Tell me about your favorite hockey moment or memory that you have, whether it be playing in the MIHA or watching hockey as a kid with your parents, or your dad or your uncle. Give me that one memory that really stands out outside of the Datsu memory.
yeah. God, that's a good question. I don't know. I think honestly is the craziest thing is like of all the different hockey memories I have of like watching games or like playing in various tournaments or winning whatever. Um, all of my real favorite moments have been from staying late at night after hours at the rink and getting a bunch of my buddies to all come up and a couple goalies and we just skate for hours and we get some music going and boys just go out there and we have fun. We're just trying new moves, doing stupid things, just anytime everybody comes out and is just having fun, like those are, I think that's probably all of those skates are my favorite moments when everyone's just out there having a good time.
That's awesome, man. Because it really is that those are the moments that you are going to cherish, and you're going to relish, to the end of time. So, when you decide to finally retire from the sport, one of my favorite memories too is exactly just like what you just described. Is getting a bunch of the guys together, going down to your local outdoor rink, and
Oh
just
yeah.
skating, having fun, shooting a breeze, and then just playing, like you said, for hours.
Yeah. Oh my God, that was yeah. And outdoor rinks. God, you're making me think. During COVID, Corey Hodge, Aaron Schwartz, Smolinski, a couple of those guys, like the Michigan boys.
Hmm.
Hodge had a spot for an outdoor rink that was actually had a nice setup, and he hit me up, or I think I hit him up, and he told me about it. And we went up there like during COVID, things were shut down, and we were just playing for like hours out there. And it was like moments like that, like you say, you get the boys together, you go out, skate around. It's the best. I love it.
Yeah, and there's a rink in White Pigeon, Michigan, that it's a full NHL size rink. Um, that I remember. It's literally halfway in between Chicago and Detroit. that I think would be phenomenal. I don't know if it's what type the surface is now, but when I was, playing on it, like 20 years ago, that was the smooth, like garage floor smooth concrete,
Oh
and
yeah.
yeah, I mean, and it was dope and dynamite. I mean, and it was right across the street from the high school, so you have all of that parking for all your all the players and everything. You just walk over, just crash, and just have a lot of fun.
Oh yeah. And then you just kind of claim the rink. It's like, all right, this is me and the boys.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well,
No, it's awesome.
and pigeons like like the size of like 3,000-4,000 people. So I mean, it's a small community, and
I'll
they
have to look
just
that up. I've never even heard of that one, honestly. I've
yeah.
heard of a bunch of different ones, but not that one.
Yeah, like I said, it's like literally halfway in between Chicago and Detroit, right there on US 12. You can't. I mean, you can miss it if you blink, but
Huh.
it's right there.
I'm gonna have to do my
And
research after this.
yeah, it's a nice little rink. I haven't been to it in probably, like I said, probably 20 years. But last I knew, it was still up.
All right,
So
I'm gonna take a look. Maybe
yeah.
get a little session going with some boys.
Oh
Have some
yeah, for
fun.
sure. But I mean, that would be some fun because I know they have. They're called the Michiana Inline Hockey Association. So it's another MIHA. I've
Oh,
tried to reach out to them as well because I think their season runs like in April and May, and then they're done. It's like 8-week section. So
gotcha.
like something like that. So. But yeah, give it a give it a look up. It should still be there from last I knew.
I'll have to take a
Um,
look. Yeah, I mean, I've been bouncing around between all sorts of different rinks, so I always
yeah,
love going out and finding another one.
yeah. So now tell us a little bit about the JCC. Now, how many leagues do you guys have in there? I've always kind of wondered how come MIHA doesn't have a tournament there because that's another. It's a nice facility. It was home of the. I can't think of the name. I just saw the picture. I can
Oh,
think of
back in
the
the day, the
logo.
Alkali Revive.
There you go.
Yeah, that back when they had that pro league that kind of fizzled out, sadly.
Yeah,
Yeah, yeah,
I
yeah.
know. I was
No,
kind of bummed about that.
yeah, I know. It was looking good for a little bit. I wonder if they'll ever bring it back. Probably not, but it was fun while it lasted. But yeah, they leagues are going strong over here. Oh God, I don't even know how many different divisions, but basically go every single night except Friday, Saturday. So yeah, hockey's doing pretty good over in this neck of the woods. Not too
Nice. Yeah,
bad.
because that's like it's in West Bloomfield. It's what
Yep.
35, 40 minutes from Taylor.
Yeah. Yeah, I would roughly. Yeah,
Roughly. Yeah,
roughly.
ballpark it. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I would say so. But yeah, no, it's the one thing about the rink up here is it's a blessing and a curse. It's slightly smaller
Okay.
on the smaller side. So, and you don't really notice it much until you start skating around on it, and then you're like, oh, this rink's a little smaller. So you're not used to skating on a big rink sometimes. When some teams that play up there a lot, they go out to these tournaments and they're like, oh, I'm playing on a full size rink. But you do feel like you have a lot more time once you switch to the larger rink. So some people like it, some people don't. But just a little unique aspect of the rink up here.
What do you prefer? Do you prefer the smaller rink or do you prefer the bigger rink?
I love what I'm doing right now, which is bouncing between both.
Right.
I get to get in tight, and you have to make fast decisions. But the big rink is great because if you're not used to it, it sucks the cardio right out of you once you try to jump to it. you're like, oh my God, I should already be at the goalie right now. I'm at the blue line.
No, I'll never forget. So like one of the guys from over here, he was big on because they have a lot of smaller outdoor rinks that they would practice on, and then they
Yeah.
would go play on a full size rink over in Georgetown, and man, those guys they would start complaining about how much bigger the surface was. And I'm like, and even me, like, and I played on just about every size surface. Even I go, holy smokes, this is a big rink. And But
That's tough.
he's always like, "Oh, it should be played 5-on-5. It makes it." I go, "Why? So you can have an extra body out there, so you can be lazy." I'm like, "Come on."
Yep. Gotta move the boots. Gotta move those
I
feet.
know. That's what I keep telling him. But doesn't work out so
Tell
well.
him, coach. Tell him.
Yeah. So tell us a little bit about the Mighty Glocktopus. How are you guys looking this season? What players did you add on? What players did you lose? I should say. Like give us a little insider scoop on the Mighty Glocktopus this season.
Yeah, the Glocktopus. The roster is it's still a little bit under construction right now. I don't know if many people noticed or paid attention. I don't think we really won much of anything last season, but we had the unfortunate happenstance of having, I think, 10 guys originally all set up to go for the season, and then we never played a tournament with more than 6. And in fact, for the final, we had to pull in a sub of someone who played one time because we were down to 5 guys.
Wow.
So roster issues have been plaguing the Glocktopus for a while. We're hoping to bring in some new talent. I've got some various players, on the line, talking to them, trying to make sure that they don't bail also. But we'll see. The core right now, we have our goalie, Miles Finney, the captain, Josh Pasco, myself, and my brother. And I think I might be forgetting somebody else that's also actually for sure committed. But outside of that, I think everybody else is still a little bit TBD.
So Miles is still in the States, huh? He didn't head back to the UK.
Oh, Miles found himself a green card.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, no, she's really nice. I've met and talked to her for a couple times.
Yeah,
she's a sweetheart. She comes out to his games. I don't know how she could put up with him, but I love Miles.
Yeah, we had Miles on the pod a few months ago, and it was a blast.
Yeah, I actually saw that. That's awesome. Yeah, no, we play with them in leagues here at the JCC on Thursdays, and he's honestly he's a really good goaltender. I think a lot of people at MIHA are going to notice him once he starts playing because he's just extremely athletic guy. So that'll be something I'm looking forward to having coming up here.
Yeah, no, I was excited when I met him at the championships. Back in last May. Just getting a chance to quickly chat with him for a little bit, and then I thought, man, this guy's going to be a great podcast interview. And and sure enough, we did the pod, and that was really cool. And now I'm pretty stoked to hear that he's still stateside, and that now I get a chance to watch him play. And then who knows, come next year, if you guys need a body, I might be able to help you guys out.
Listen, I'm going to be doing some scouting, so got to make sure we get you out there for the warm-up skates.
There you go.
Look at what you got. I'll talk to Francis. I'll get the lowdown on you.
There you go.
I trust him.
Been a long time ago, but yeah.
So, oh man, Francis, that was one that we were supposed to get on our team, and then got scooped up last second.
Yeah, I was surprised to hear that he was on the Monopoly this year and not coming over to play with the Glocktopus, because I know he subbed with you guys quite a bit last year.
Yeah, no, honestly, it's just one of those things, and you know how it is. It's the roller community is very connected, and everybody's just got their buddies, and sometimes you're like, I'll play with you guys, and then you have your boys or whoever go, hey, come play with us. You're like, all right, I got to go play with my guys. So that's nothing against them at all. It's that's half the fun is getting to play against your buddies as well as with them. Yep,
for sure. That was always something I always enjoyed, and so you just don't know what you're going to run into when you're playing in this sport of hockey. Because like you said, 1 minute you're playing with the boys, next minute you're playing against the boys, and you're just having that nice heated combat game, and then and then as soon as you step off, you're back to being bros again. So
back to being buddies. Yeah, there's nothing better than giving each other a couple little hooks and whacks, and battling, and then getting off afterwards and fist bumping each other and being like, can't believe that you hooked me on that breakaway. The ref was blind. But it's all in good fun, and I love it. It's awesome.
It's definitely a fun sport. So, what's the outlook looking for? Like you said, you're kind of hoping to add a couple of guys. What are you guys hoping to shoot for as far as your record goes? Because I know you guys are going to have a good chance to making the playoffs this year. You just gotta get those W's in early and keep it going. Right?
Yeah, no, it's difficult. Every single team in T2 has some talent, and obviously, you've got a lot of really good teams. I feel like the team to really watch out for this season around is the Fuel team. I know a bunch of the guys on there, and that's a scary squad. I don't look forward to playing. Then again, you've also got the Smoke team that's just also equally stacked. And then obviously the Cincinnati Kings, who dominate every time they play. And then you go on down the line and you go, okay, like where here do you hope to win a game?
And not only that, but then you didn't even mention last year's champions, the Buffalo New Era.
Yeah, exactly.
And then you got the Sixers
toe drags.
Yeah. those are some nasty toe drags.
Oh my God! I remember the first tournament we played against him last season. I didn't even realize that was him out there. I went to step on this guy that was about to shoot the puck, I thought. And then the most magnificent toe drag around me. I turn and look, and he's already smiling, skating away from the net because he already scored. And I'm like, oh my God, it's Hackett's out here. We're screwed.
Yeah, I've been trying to get Jess on the pod, but he says he's not a very good podcast interview.
That can't possibly. That's a fun guy. He's a really good guy. If you ever talk to him, oh my God, he's fun.
We've gone back and forth, and I'm like, dude, no, come on, man. I'll make it interesting. Just come on the pod. We'll have a little bit of fun, Yeah, and how could you not when you had Dad Bod Todd and Roy Davis on, not too, just before that, and he was just like, I'm shy.
Yeah,
it's no way.
Yeah, we'll see. As far as what we're hoping for a record, we're hoping. Last season, like I said, we didn't win much, but with 6 guys, I felt like we put up good battles. So, as long as we can go out there, we can have some good games with everybody. I don't break too many sticks. I feel like it's a successful season.
Absolutely, yeah. I didn't see you guys. You guys didn't get blown out, too much. You guys didn't lose. You guys didn't win by too much. But hey, those tight knit battles, where you're winning by 2-3 goals and you're losing by 1 or 2 goals.
Yeah,
that's a hell of a team, especially in the stacked T2 division that you guys are in.
Yeah, exactly. And the whole setup of MIHA, you get to go out and these events, especially out of town, it's fun. It's an event, You go out there, you're there to play hockey, but it's a lot more than just that. So, that's I feel like, at least for me, that's kind of what I'm taking away is I'm going to come out there, I'm going to try my absolute best, but I'm not going to be heartbroken if I'm not walking away with championships.
Right. So, all right, Brad. Well, that's going to conclude this episode of the GCH podcast. I'm your host, Ben W. Stock. With me was Brad Bernia. I got it right this time. Yeah.
There you go. I appreciate it.
I always find a way to butcher it. You could have told me how to pronounce it beforehand, and I would have still said Bernia.
That's fine. It looks like Bernia. You're not the first. Don't worry about it. Don't worry.
No, I hope not. Holy smokes!
It's spelled wrong. I don't know what to do about it. It's just the way it is.
So yeah. Well, again, I appreciate you taking the time. I can't wait to see how you guys do this year. Best of luck to you guys, and please circle back. Come closer to playoffs, and we'll get you back on to do a season recap and talk about how well you guys are doing.
Awesome. Yeah, sounds good. Thank you so much, Ben. I appreciate everything you guys do, and thanks again. I look forward to talking to you soon.
All right, sounds good. All right, guys, have a good one. Cheers.